speakers in either the United States or the United Kingdom, and we do speak at churches and speak at schools and have public debates. I've done over 24 public debates on Islam, so we are reaching people. There's only so much that can be done by one person or by a small group of people.
Is there any way you can have a show on the air in American channel?
We'd love to. And if you know any American channels who want to partner and also broadcast the show, we have that. That's an open invitation. If you want to contact other American channels or Christian stations and say, hey, could you broadcast Jesus or Muhammad at the same time ABN is broadcasting? We do that. We do that in a heartbeat. We do that we have no objections to that. So wherever you are in the United States, by all means, contact local Christian stations and say you'd like to see this, and could we work something out? And we'd have no problem. We'd have no problem with that. We think Christian Network should be broadcasting Jesus or Muhammad so that we can reach more people here.
How far you can write in magazine and the newspaper, like New York Times and the very famous common newspapers?
What was that?
Why we shouldn't write some articles in the New York Times and all of these?
No, the New York Times would never let me write an article. Never. They never do it. If you read newspapers like the New York Times, you'd better be pretty darn pro-Islam. Or the only major media source that I know of is the Wall Street Journal that will allow criticism of Islam. They have I don't know why, but the Wall Street Journal publishes articles that are critical of Islam. But yes, maybe I'll try that. Maybe I'll send them something.
Then please check out what I told you about Texas. Check out what's going on in Texas now.
Do you live in Texas, or you just saw this on?
I live in Florida, but they came on channel El Tariq yesterday, and they
There's another Arabic channel, Tariq Satellite.
Tariq Satellite, they talk in detail. There is a big population there trying to convert the Christian, especially the Arabs, whom they need money. And they came on the air, they said, we win, they gave us money, we fill an application, presuming they're going to give them job and give them cash money. It happened, and the lady came on the air, and she said, we got $80, and they are distributing money everywhere until they get their feet in. Then they convert them. So if you contact Qanat al-Tariq, they will give you the whole issue, and you can follow up this issue. It's very dangerous.
Thank you, Dr. Faiz, for the information.
Yeah, I'd like to say something briefly here. If anyone is surprised that Muslims will give people money to try and help them convert,
they're accusing us. We're giving the Muslim money to convert.
Yeah, they accuse us when we don't do that. I mean, I'm sure some Christians have, but the point is that's not how Christians are supposed to act. When Muslims use money to try and win converts, they're doing exactly what Islam commands them to do, and they're following the example of Muhammad. Let me show you. Surah 9, verse 60. Surah 9, verse 60. The alms, so the alms that Muslims give, the alms are only for the poor and the needy, no problem there, and those who collect them. So people who are collecting the alms get paid that way, and those whose hearts are to be reconciled. So the alms are for the poor and needy, people who collect them, and those whose hearts are to be reconciled. Let me read you Hilali Khan's translation. The alms are only for the poor and those employed to collect them, and to attract the hearts of those who have been inclined towards Islam. Think about what this is saying. Alms that Muslims give are to help incline people towards Islam. Let me read you some commentary. So don't take my interpretation. I don't want to give my interpretation of the Quran, because Muslims will say, oh, you must be wrong. So I'll go to your greatest commentaries. Let me read you the beginning of Tafsir Jalalain's, one of the most popular Muslim commentaries of all time. Let me give you the beginning of Tafsir Jalalain's commentary on this. The voluntary almsgivings, the alms to be dispensed, are only for the poor who cannot find anything to suffice them in the least, and the needy who cannot find anything to suffice them, and those who work with them. In other words, the one who collects them, the one who takes oaths from those who claim them to the slave to be manumitted by contract, as well as the tax summoner, and those whose hearts are to be reconciled so that they might become Muslims, or that Islam might be firmly established. Did you catch that? And by the way, if you're interested in this, call back and I can go into more detail. We can go to Tafsir Ibn Kathir, the most popular, supposedly the greatest Muslim commentary of all time. We can go to the Hadith. We can go to the Sirah literature. And you'll see over and over again that Muhammad would give money to people to bribe them to come to Islam. In fact, I can't resist, since we're on the topic, let me go ahead and read you Tafsir Ibn Kathir. He gives a historical example of this. So this is Ibn Kathir's commentary on Surah 960, what it means to say that that money is used to win, to help reconcile people to Islam. The Prophet of Allah gave something to Safwan bin Umayyah from the war spoils of Hunain, even though he attended it while a mushrik. So this guy's a pagan. Safwan said, he kept giving me alms until he became the dearest person to me after he had been the most hated person to me. So here, this guy who was a pagan, Muhammad keeps giving him spoils of war until the man converts to Islam. Think about that. Here's a man who can't stand Islam, doesn't like Islam. Muhammad keeps giving him money until he converts. That's what we find in Islam, and we find many examples of this in the early Muslim sources. So is it any surprise that Muslims will give money to people in order to get them to convert to Islam? Not surprising at all. In fact, I know a pastor who was offered any amount of money he wanted. Now, I don't know if it would have, I don't think they would have given him $1 billion or something like that, but they said, they told him, he's a Christian pastor, an Arab Christian pastor, and they told him, if you convert to Islam and write a book saying that you converted because you realize that the Bible is false and that the Quran is the Word of God, name your price and we'll give it to you. Wow. I know another pastor who was offered $2 million to convert to Islam and to say that he converted based on all kinds of reasons. What kind of religion is this? The idea, I'll tell you, the idea is in Islam is convert by any means necessary. If you have to deceive people, no problem. If you have to bribe them, no problem. If you have to threaten and intimidate them, no problem. Because once you get into Islam, you're not getting out with your head. You're not getting out with your head. In other words, you check in, but you don't check out. So it doesn't matter how you come to Islam, because once you come to Islam, you're not getting out. So your children will have to be raised Muslims, and Islam gets to thrive in the world. What religion needs to operate using these methods?
All right, we have two calls. I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Duram. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Duram, are you there?
Duram.
Yes, hi. I love your show, Omega.
What's your name? So I'll not be mistakenly calling your name wrong. What's your name?
My name is Aram.
Aram. All right. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. I love your show, and may God bless you. It's true that Islam do pay a lot of money. Matter of fact, Saudi Arabia pay billions and billions of dollars to convert Lebanon to Islam and spend billions of dollars weapon arming the Islam, bringing people from Iraq. That Sadr Hezbollah, he's from Iraq, and now he calls himself Lebanese. And meanwhile, the West support that. George Bush Sr., George Bush Jr., Sr., both of them do support them. And Lebanon now, it's under Islam rules. They strip all the power from the Christian. Until today, the only armed people are the Muslims, Hezbollah, and training Hezbollah. And meanwhile, the West continue training them, help them with arms and weapons, and tell them they are good people. There's a serious problem here. Greed is the problem in the West. When they see dollar, they bend over, and I don't know what they can do about it. But the Islam foundation is based on nothing, and that's why I'm not worried about it. They're all going to collapse very soon because their foundation is built on sand, and soon you put a little bit of water, they're all going to fall apart. So, but the problem is right now in the embassy in Syria, Canadian American embassy, all the interpreters are Muslims. When the Christians come in, they're interpreted the wrong way, so the ambassador will not give them